What's up, it's Cinema Shogun here, and Britney Spears' ex-husband, Jason Alexander, yes, the same guy that crashed her wedding on a live stream, is now speaking out, and he has some really interesting things to say. Now, before I get started, I know a lot of people have written this guy off as just being some crazy lunatic. I am not here to say that he isn't. But I am not going to totally dismiss everything that he is saying because some of it sounds like it could be true. He's not even saying too much here, but he's saying some things that really make me raise my eyebrows. And supposedly, he's been talking to Britney this whole time. Now, like I said, some people feel like this dude isn't credible. I understand why people feel that way. I'm not here to defend him. I'm not here to defend anything that he's ever done. I am simply here to hear him out because I'm the type of person, I will always hear you out. Yeah, I might look you dead in your face and be like, you know what? Everything you just said was a complete load of crap. But I will give you the benefit of the doubt of hearing what you have to say. And that's what we're going to do in this video. I know the rest of Britney fandom won't hear this guy out, so I will hear what he has to say. Now, Jason, who is 40 years old, he didn't believe Britney was marrying Sam Asghari, and he wanted to see it with his own eyes. He's explaining why he crashed the wedding. I couldn't let her get married with the conversations we've had over the last 2 years. I wasn't there to cause harm. I was just there to speak to Britney and to make sure she was okay and that this is what she wanted. So from what Jason is saying, he's been talking to Britney for a couple of years now. And from the conversations they had, it makes him feel as if this wedding isn't what Britney wanted. Now, my thing is this dude really talking to Britney? Some people are convinced that this dude thinks he's talking to the real Britney, but he's talking to some fake, some phony. That is a possibility. I know there are weird people out there on the internet that will pretend to be other people. Jason's mental health is kind of in question. And people think that maybe he's gullible enough to believe that some fake Britney account is really Britney in communication with him. But to keep that up for years on end, I would hope that Jason, someone who is actually Britney's ex, would be smart enough to kind of know if he's talking to the real Britney or not, especially if these conversations have been occurring over the past couple of years. He said that when they spoke, just a few days before the wedding, that she didn't mention anything about getting married to Sam. And he feared she was being forced into it, especially after spending the last 13 years under a conservatorship. Here's my issue with the Britney stuff, and it's been my issue from the beginning. It's like the Free Britney movement wanted the outside world to believe all of this crazy stuff was happening to Britney. And then the moment they act like the conservatorship ended, they look down upon anyone who thinks there may be still something crazy going on with Britney. The Free Britney movement, it was almost nauseating how far they went and how much they talked about all of the atrocities that Britney went through. And it was like some of the craziest conspiracy theory things you've ever heard in your life. But some of it was true. Some of it was true. But it was pretty outlandish at the time hearing it. But it's these same people who are spreading all of this outlandish stuff, that some of it turned out to be true, that now frown upon anyone who points things out that are still weird that's happening with Britney. And these same Free Britney people absolutely hate Jason Alexander. And they will say he's a conspiracy theorist for thinking that Britney may have been, I don't want to say necessarily forced to marry Sam, but kind of coerced and manipulated into marrying Sam. I don't think that Britney is all the way there mentally. and I don't think that she's capable of making the best decisions in the world. So she needs people around her that have her best interests at heart. I'm not convinced that Sam is one of those people. Britney's wedding was so spontaneous and random, and it didn't feel real. None of it felt real at all. And it didn't feel real to him. And from what this dude is saying, the conversations that he was having with Britney didn't allude to her getting married at all. Now, Jason Alexander is currently wanted by the police after failing to appear in court for allegedly stealing his landlady's $2,000 diamond tennis bracelet. So this dude is a mess. This dude's got his own issues. Like I said, I'm not here to defend Jason. I'm not here to say that he's the best person in the world. I'm not here to defend his character. I am simply here to hear him out when the rest of the world seems like they are tuning him out. But I think it's funny that he's giving these interviews while he's actually wanted by the police. It's like, maybe you should go hide somewhere. But the thing about Jason is, and the reason why I always will at least hear what he has to say, is because unlike all of these other people, Jason was actually like a childhood friend of Britney. From what I know, and maybe I'm wrong, Jason was actually kind of close with portions of her family. Like, Jason was there before Britney was the superstar. So if anyone had, you can't say just because someone knew you as a child that they have your pure interest at heart. But I would say that I would trust him more so than a lot of the people who have strategically placed themselves in her life to suck her dry of her money. Like, this dude was been close with Britney for a long time. For a long time. Let's see what else he has to say. Now, Jason says that he spoke to Britney on the Monday leading up to the wedding and that she didn't mention anything about getting married at all. We talked about the people she hangs out with that calls her her friends. They are business associates that profit directly off of her. Most people aren't aware of what's been happening in the background, he says. So, from the way he's talking as if he has insight into Britney's life that the majority of other people don't have. And I find it weird that, when this situation happened, Britney hasn't said much about it. I want you all to really pay attention to that. Yeah, I know this guy's gone to court and got arrested and all of that stuff. But Britney has been very vocal on Instagram for months now. You think that if she would go so far as to attack her own kids, and I mean just lay out paragraphs and audio of her attacking her kids and Kevin Federline and her dad and her mom and her sister, then don't you think she would have spoken out about the fact that her ex-husband basically broke into her home on her wedding day? Why haven't we really heard anything from Britney about that? Really ask yourself that question. Britney is desperate to be a victim of something, to play the victim card. That was a perfect opportunity for Britney to play the victim. Because for once, Britney, I won't say for once, but she was actually a victim of something, of someone coming into her home and trying to crash her wedding. But you really didn't hear a peep out of Britney about that. She'll talk about her kids being bad people all day and, you won't get a single dime out of me, kids, fuck you. But she doesn't mention her ex-husband breaking into her home and trying to crash her wedding. Really think about that now. I think there might be something to this. I feel as if Britney really may be in contact with this dude. I feel like this dude may be like the one string left that Britney has that attaches her to her past. And I mean, of course, you're always going to have your family, but I mean, the one thing that just reminds you of who you were before the fame. The one person that you may feel like you could reach out and talk to, that you know knew you before you were Britney Spears. You understand what I'm saying? If I was a famous person, and I was constantly surrounded by people who were also famous, or people who were famous because of me, or people who wanted money from me, I would be happy to have a friend, a connection with someone who knew me before I was this superstar. So that's why I don't find it totally unbelievable that this dude could be in contact with Britney. Like almost like someone she uses for emotional support or just to rant to sometimes. But he says that the conversation that they had on the Monday leading up to Britney's wedding lasted for 30 minutes. And he and Britney agreed that she would reach out to him on WhatsApp. But he became worried when he never heard from her. Upon seeing the news of the wedding, he felt inclined to go to her home to find out for himself. I wanted to see for myself, he said. Jason is adamant that he had no intention to hurt Britney, and he was only looking for her best interest. He insists that if he actually saw Britney that day, he would never have been arrested, and the outcome would have been different. So he claims that if he were to have made it to Britney, he would have never have harmed Britney, and that Britney would have explained to them that it's okay that he's here. Now, I'm not so sure about that. I'm not saying that I think that he wanted to hurt Britney, but I'm not so sure that Britney would be like, oh, everyone, it's okay. He broke into my home. I'm not saying that. If Britney's really talking to this dude, I don't think it's something that she would want Sam to know or something that she would want public. But then again, she spreads her butt cheeks wide open on Instagram, and Sam seems to have no problem with that. So would Sam have a problem with her talking to her ex? I don't know. However, Jason was asked, what would have happened if he ran into Britney's new husband, Sam? I don't know what would have happened, but that would have been interesting, he says. No, I don't think she looks happy. That whole thing is not real. It's all for show. It's all a Hollywood script. So Jason, Britney's ex, is saying that Britney's wedding was a show. It's a Hollywood script. And you know what's really weird? It looks like it. Anyone who doesn't have their Britney blinder goggle shades on can look at that wedding, look at the photos, the videos, and everything, the vibe of it all, and they would tell you this looks staged. It looked like they were shooting a wedding scene for a horrible B-rated movie that will come out directly on Tubi. A Hulu original wedding movie. It didn't look real. Nothing about it screamed authenticity to me. It was random. It was at her house that was supposedly a dungeon for her. The stars that were there, they all had like these weird, like filmed Hollywood intros of them pulling up to Britney's house. The fun that took place there looked fake. Everything looked like a fake staged photo op. Now, I'm not implying that Britney was in on this fake wedding. I feel like Britney is living in like the Truman Show or something, where Britney doesn't realize that everything going on around her is fake. The people around her are fake. They're all trying to get you. They're all trying to use you. And they're doing these weird little things to appease you because you have the mind of a child and you're easily manipulated. The wedding to me felt like a participation trophy that was given to Britney. Here, I hope you're happy now. Here's a little wedding. Dance around in a thong for a little while and shut the hell up. And we won't even have to worry about you for the next 6 months. It felt so generic and weird. And from what he's saying, it felt really generic and weird to him. All like a Hollywood script. Now, Jason admits that his appearance at the wedding was a jarring scene, saying it could look a little scary if you don't know the history. When asked if he wants to see her perform again, he says, "Without skipping a beat, I want to see her happy. I want her making her own decisions on who she can be friends with and who she can see. I want her making her own decisions, feeling like she has the freedom to choose what she does with her time and who she spends her time with." Shockingly, Jason appears to somewhat defend Britney's family despite the pop star bashing them. "We all make mistakes, and family is family. Forgiveness is something we have to learn to do in our heart," he says. A lot of people don't like hearing that about Britney's family. And for me, when it comes to Britney's family, I don't know how to feel. I don't know how to feel because I was not in their shoes. I was not there. I don't like the conservatorship. I don't really like these child star parents who force their kids to kind of be stars and then kind of take money from them. So it gives me a bad taste in my mouth. But at the same time, I do think Britney was dealing with some complex mental health issues that are hard to understand. And I'm not sure how I would have handled that as a parent. And I understand that regardless of how we feel about Britney's father or her mother, they were put in a difficult position when Britney was losing her mind back in the day. I don't agree with the conservatorship. I don't like conservatorships. And there are things that have happened that make Britney's parents look like bad people. But I still I wouldn't want to be in their shoes or in their position to have to make a decision about my daughter who was dealing with issues that I didn't understand and that maybe the world didn't understand. So I'll just leave it at that. Because I feel like that had to be difficult for everyone. Although I don't agree with a lot of the things that took place. But forgiveness is tough for a lot of people. There's been people in my life that it's tough for me to forgive. But I will say that once you forgive someone for something, it's almost relieving. It does more for you often than for the person that you're forgiving. Forgiving someone doesn't mean that you have to let them back into your life with open arms, but it means that you let go of that hate and that rage and that spite that you had in your heart. And when you let that go, you will always be a better and bigger person afterwards. But as far as this guy goes, do you all believe him? Let me know down in the comments below. I am really interested in seeing how many people believe this guy as opposed to how many people don't believe this guy. There is no right or wrong answer. Don't feel like you have to be like, yeah, I believe this guy just because I somewhat believe him. I just want to hear what you honestly think deep down. I'm on the fence. Like I said, I think it's possible that this dude is talking to a fake Britney Spears. I don't think he's making this stuff up. I just think it's possible that he's being scammed and he's talking to a fake Britney. But I find it highly likely and highly possible that he could be talking to the real Britney. Maybe we'll never know. But let me know what you think down below. While you're down there, hit that subscribe button, ring the notification bell, drop a super thanks down below to support the channel. And as always, I'll talk to you all on the next video.